Greetings, everybody. My name is Vile Vale, aka Wasn't Me Vile Did It, and I'm one of the designers of the plugin Bang. I'm here to show you around our plugin a bit, explaining certain features. But before I get into that, I want to briefly explain what got us here. Me and my co-creator Ghostline were a little disappointed with some of the MIDI generation plugins on the market. We felt they lacked certain options and really kind of held the user back in a lot of ways. There were certain things that we felt these plugins could greatly benefit from, so we decided to make our own. We had two goals in mind, aside from including the features I'm talking about, which I will get to shortly. One, to make a plugin that both of us and our users could use to get useful musical results quickly if they decided to keep it simple and stick with your typical major and minor tonalities, plus simple time signatures, while also adding depth in the plugin's options that would allow the user to experiment should they choose to want to try some new things. And two, we also wanted to encourage musicians of all kinds to try new things and take risks. And there are many ways to do all of these things with this plugin, so let's start actually taking a look at it. As you can see, when you load up the plugin, our main window pops up, and one of the first things you see is it says Select Engine at the very top right here. Bang has 3 engines in total: melody, chords, and mixture. Now, all 3 engines are a little bit different in different ways, and we're going to go through all of them, but for now, let's pick melody, okay? Once you pick your engine of choice, you can either pick a scale from our many choices, a time signature from our many choices, whether you want the MIDI that is generated to be 4 or 8 bars, the octave the MIDI will be primarily located in, and the density of rests in between the notes of the MIDI generated. Now, this rest density slider right here works in different ways depending on what engine you're using. But for melody, it's going to create more spaces in between the notes. That's all you need to know. So 0 is less spaces and 100 is the max amount of spaces in between notes. Okay, if this ever seems like a lot to remember, just remember that you can always hover over any control in any window of this plugin, and it should give you a tooltip explaining exactly what it does, like this. Next, we have what are called the humanization sliders over here on the right. The top one will throw notes on or off beats in the bar ever so slightly. Give it a little human feel. The second humanization slider will affect the dynamics of the velocity of these notes. So some will be quieter, some will be louder, and the more you crank the slider up, the more dynamic these velocities will be. The next one implements a swing rhythm to your MIDI. The more that you crank it up, the more swing you get. And the final one implements a shuffle rhythm to the MIDI the more that you crank it up. Now, once that you have your settings figured out, you go down here and you click Generate, and bang, just like that, you have your MIDI. You can then use this drag and drop button right here to drag it into your DAW of choice. Pretty simple, huh? And I mean, you could spend all day just sitting in major or minor and in 4/4 and get tons of great results. But let's say you want to explore a bit. That's where the advanced harmony window comes into play. So you click this button right here on the main window and open up the advanced harmony window. And you see we have 2 sections here. We have the extensions and other chords section and the advanced chords section. The extensions include stuff like 7th chords, 9th chords, 11ths, 13ths, sus chords, altered chords, and slash chords. And below them we have a density slider where 0 has them influencing the MIDI generator less, and 100 has them influence the MIDI generator at the maximum amount. Once you select these, you press this button, close and pass to main window. Then go down here and click Generate, and bang, now you've spiced it up a bit. Now let's head back into the advanced harmony window and check out the advanced chords section a bit real quick. Now below here are a few different types of chords that are a little more, advanced. You got secondary dominants, borrowed chords, chromatic mediants, Neapolitan chords, and tritone subs. Now, due to how these chords work, we have put a cap on how many can be included in one chord progression. So if you select only one of these advanced chords, you will see one of the kind that you have selected per MIDI generated. Yes, only one. But if you selected 2 or more, the MIDI generator will randomly pick 1 or 2 of these types of chords and include them in the MIDI that is generated. Because if your chord progression was all these types of chords and just that, it wouldn't sound very great. So they are chosen randomly. Keep that in mind. Now, a question I often get is, do these advanced and extended chords settings affect the melody and mixture generator? And the short answer is yes, but both of them affect it in different ways. The extended chords and other chords section, obviously depending on how much you set this density slider, will definitely affect the melody and mixture modes, and you could choose just how much you want them to affect it with the density slider. The advanced chords part, when in melody or mixture mode, will only affect a small part of your MIDI, much like it does with the chord progression generator. So the short answer is yes, but you can also decide to have it not affect it if you don't want it to, and I'll show you how you can do that in just a minute here. Okay, for now, let's head back to the main window because I do want to explain a couple of things. When you have chords mode selected, this rest density slider on the main window works slightly different than it does in the other modes. Instead of putting actual spaces in between the notes, it just spreads out how many chords are included in the MIDI you generate. So keep that in mind as well. It does work a little bit differently for the chords mode. Okay, now we're going to switch to mixture mode and go and check out the polyrhythm section. So you click the polyrhythm button on the main window, and it brings up this window. We have a few selections of polyrhythms you can include and another density slider so you can choose just how much you want these polyrhythms to affect the MIDI that is generated. Obviously, 0 is less than 100 is as much as possible. But as you can see, you set this up and bang! Now you have some polyrhythm influence in the MIDI you have generated. Pretty dope, huh? Let's go check out the reharmonize window. Now this is a pretty cool setting because whether you have 4 or 8 bars selected on the main window, this window will allow you to change the key and scale of the second half of the MIDI you generate. Okay, so it keeps the first half, and then once you regenerate here, bang! Now the second half of your MIDI has been reharmonized. All right, so let's check out the final window, which is the adjust window. Now remember how I said earlier you could choose if you wanted the advanced chords section to affect the MIDI you generate? Well, this is the window you can do it in, and you can also choose if you want other settings to affect the MIDI you generate. So you can pretty much choose and discard whatever you want to keep or get rid of. I won't go through them all, but you get the point. You select what you want and discard what you don't want, and bang, you have adjusted your settings and regenerated, as you can see. Now let's say you just want something quick and random. You're not really worried about what key or scale it is in. Just go up here to the top right corner and press this dice button, and bang, your MIDI has been generated using random parameters. And this random button is also included in all of the other windows. So you can have a lot of random fun with this. And that pretty much covers it, guys. That is Bang in a nutshell. Now we are always open to hear feedback of any kind, negative or positive. And we are always open to adjusting how this plugin works. So if we get enough feedback that says one thing should work this way or shouldn't, we might just change it. So feel free to comment or leave us an email or something telling us what you think, because we do find that very valuable. We literally will read every single one, replying to the ones that we see fit. I should also mention this is our very first plugin, so please be kind to us as we get used to this process. We will be very open to criticism and comments and concerns that you have, though. With that said, that wraps up this tour of our plugin Bang. And if you're interested in this plugin, please support us and purchase it at soundsdope.net. For the first 2 weeks that this plugin is available, we are letting you choose your price, starting at $10. After that, the price will be $59.99. Now, because this is electronically delivered and we have no way of verifying your identity, we will only offer refunds under very specific circumstances. It doesn't mean we won't be understanding of people's issues, but for our own protection, we have an all sales final policy on any products that are electronically delivered. Again, if there is an issue that is out of your control completely or something like that, just email us. At the very least, we'll hear you out, and if it makes sense to us, we will probably issue a refund. But those are under very special circumstances. So just know that before you buy this, you might want to make sure that it is compatible with your system and that you would be able to use it. Currently, we only offer it for Windows in VST, VST3, and AAX formats. We are working on offering it for other systems as well, of course, with Mac being the main priority. I should also mention that we have another plugin that we're going to be touring on this channel very soon called Boom, which is the sibling plugin for Bang, focusing on MIDI generation for 808s, bass, and drums. You don't want to miss this one if you enjoyed Bang at all. Boom has a lot of really cool features that I think people will find highly useful and awesome, as well as very fun to use. So On top of that, I would also like to mention that we are currently developing a soft synth as well. And this synthesizer is going to be really fucking cool, guys. I can't reveal too many details about it right now, but it's called 6 Synths. It will include synth engines that have never ever been done before anywhere else, as well as engines that you are very familiar with very original spins on them, and a bunch of other cool surprises that are so fucking cool, man. I can't wait to share it with you all. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this tour. My name again is Viola Vale, aka Wasn't Me, Vile Did It. And if you have any questions or comments or concerns, or really anything at all, feel free to email me directly at soundsdopeaudio@gmail.com. So that is all for this video. Please like and subscribe, or if you're feeling really generous, leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. And remember, like Sugar Free says, if it's good to you, it must be good for you. And we here at Sounds Dope will do our absolute best to be good for you. All right, stay dope, y'all. Bye, Lavelle. Out.